Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged, USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you try their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignons, and of course, the king of all, those massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever had. Hell, try those burgers as well, too. Prime Angus and Wagyu burgers, half-pound monsters. Imagine eating two of those at once. I'm a pig. That's what I do. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call. Find out what's for dinner at 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! An astounding round of applause for them and everybody else tuning in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Also, Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, and WOW Cable Television and Hotel TV in over 600,000 rooms from coast to coast. We have a very special guest. Let's let him introduce himself.
Uh-oh. Do I have to know who I am?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I'll give name, a rank, and serial number. That's what I'll do. Dennis Blair is my name, and I'm a comedian and a musician and a songwriter and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Unless you don't like it, then it's not fun.
He says, unless you don't like it. I'm not really sure about that. Hey, Dennis, welcome into the show. And I see...
Thank you.
Hey, listen, right behind you, of course, I see a really cool instrument. Look, I've got a little bit of that right over here myself. Everybody on TV can see that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I don't...
We have a theme.
I don't play very well. So, all right, give everybody the 30-second rundown. So summarize your life in 30 seconds, and we can call it a day.
I was born. I think after that, a whole bunch of stuff happened, and then who knows what's going to happen pretty soon. I have no idea. Well, that's not 30 seconds yet. My life as an entertainer, you mean? Started as a songwriter and a singer, and got bored doing that, and started doing song parodies. And from that, I went to Dangerfield's. Rodney Dangerfield discovered me. I started doing shows with him. Suddenly, I was a comedian, and then I worked with Rodney Dangerfield, Joan Rivers, George Carlin for 18 years, and now I am, all those people are dead, and it wasn't me. So other than that, I just keep doing comedy and songwriting and put out albums and try to keep busy. You keep going? Am I done?
So you're, oh no, I'm trying to get you to keep going. So I'm like, all right, keep going and keep going. That's okay, because I had to send a message. See, folks, this is live. We don't fix it in the mix. We've got a lot of chaos going here. If one thing goes wrong, it's like a house of cards. Everything comes down at one time.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. So I'll just be ready with the backup stories.
Yes, please. So if you see me do this, that means keep going. But nonetheless,
okay.
So a great story from music and comedy alone. I like the fact that you're the guy that will pick the guitar up and you'll sing something that's already comedic, but you'll make it. It's like showing up to the fire with a gallon of gas, right? And here comes Dennis throwing a gallon of gas on the fire and making it something you could dance to.
Yeah, I make life not worth living. So that's my specialty. In case you were wondering.
Oh,
that should be on my card.
Right. Okay, so from the musicals, how did you decide to just pick up a guitar and start playing? Because you already had the musical skills, right? Maybe you're just a comedic person on top of it. Maybe I'm going to make some comedy out of this song or this situation. Let's put some notes to it.
Yeah, well, I started, my mother, unfortunately, I wanted to take saxophone lessons when I was a kid. And she said, okay, here's a music school. It's the one music school in Whitestone, Queens, New York. And all they had was accordion. So I wound up playing the accordion. What a chick magnet that was. Yes. Girls were staying away in groves, but it was a great instrument to develop my ear so I could eventually hear a song on the radio and just play it. So that was good. That came in very handy later because the Beatles came and I said, oh, I'm ditching the accordion. I'm going to start playing the guitar. So I figured out the guitar, figured out some chords, started having playing, realized I could sing a little bit. So I parlayed that into a little career, doing bars and being in bands and stuff like that. And then one night I was at a place called Fern's Harness Shop in Roslyn, Long Island. If anyone's from Roslyn, Long Island, feel free to send in cash. And I was being not paid attention to on the stage, and I got sick of that. So I said, you know what, Mason, and then Rodney Dangerfield, and the rest is history.
That's great
That's
stuff.
another nutshell of my life.
Right. Well, we're going to crack that nutshell open in just a little bit. And of course, I see you have something that you could pick up and play and perform a little bit, if you so choose to.
Oh, okay. Well, I should get my guitar because that's a mandolin. I'm not that really great on that. So I could go to the other room and get the guitar if need be.
Well, I've got 2 guitars here, and I play them horrifically. I wreck everyone's music. And hey, listen, if I have gain, right, I'll plug in. I've got some giant amps on the other side of the studio here. Listen, I'm happy to plug in and scare everybody away. That's typically what I do. And of course, everybody in the building, well, they don't really like it either. But you actually have musical skill where I really don't. I learned how to play guitar as a kid, but
no big deal. No big deal. I mean, it's kind of a skill that you just got to develop and keep at, if you want to do it really well. I do it okay. I play it right.
Here's an interesting thing. Okay, so we've had a lot of musical guests on the show as well. And I talked to Craig Bartok, the lead guitarist from Heart. So Craig and I were talking about being able to read music. Now, a lot of people today, they are almost music illiterate, right? They just hear it and then they play it, but they don't know how to read it. It's kind of like grammar. We could speak English. We're able to speak English, but how many of us really know how the grammar side works? So reading music, look, there's a lot to this. And of course, you learning music at a young age, you probably learn how to read music at a very young age, but you can appreciate the whole notes, the quarters, the halves, the 16ths, et cetera, right? The eighth. But most people don't really know that. What is the depth of your music knowledge when it comes to that?
It's not great. Here's the thing. When I started with accordion, obviously I had to read sheet music because, to play songs. And I've never played an instrument before. So you need some knowledge. And, I had a book and everything like that. But I never really got great at reading music. But then again, neither did the Beatles. So I'm in good company. Beatles could not read music at all. You don't need it unless you're going to be playing in an orchestra or playing with a band that has charts. But I'm okay. I can figure it out. But if you put something in front of me, it's a little difficult for me. So luckily, I have to depend on my ear.
Okay, so somebody, if they put sheet music in front of you, you're SOL.
If it was chords, if it's just chords, I could do that.
Okay.
But no, as far when you get into eighth notes and 16th notes and reading, sight reading, they call it. Nah, I'm totally useless on that.
So when you're playing guitar, when you're practicing, do you just scales and scales and scales? What do you do?
No, I just play songs. I mean, even when I was taking accordion lessons, I didn't want to do scales. They gave me scales to do. And even I took some guitar lessons later on in my life, and I just couldn't stick with it because it's boring. Oh, that's great. Let me do that for an hour. No.
Right.
So I just, I'll pick up a guitar, I'll play a song, or try to write one. That's what happened. And then, when I'm on stage, I'm playing the song. So, it's boring to me practicing.
But picking up a guitar, folks, in case you don't realize this, picking up a guitar and actually playing the guitar while you're singing, it's beyond walking and chewing gum. It's far beyond that because there's a lot of concentration, there's muscle memory, there's a lot of things going on.
Right. Well, it's just, I guess it's one of those things I could do, like some guys can play basketball, some guys can ski. I can't. I can do that. That happens to be thing. And also I can play bass and sing, which people tell me is hard. But it's okay to me. I don't know what happened. Something went wrong in my brain. I'm able to do these things that a lot of people can't do. And thank God it worked out for me.
Can you play the upright bass like Tom and Jerry? This sure is, and this sure ain't my baby. Remember that? Doom, doom, doom. That's one of the best Tom and Jerry's of all time.
Yeah, I need frets on my bass. I'm not really good at fretless. No, I mean, I need to know where. These guys who play fretless are amazing. It's like, how do you know where to put your hand, But no, I have a fretless bass in the closet there somewhere, and I haven't taken it out in about 5 years. So it's great, though. It's a great sound. Too bad. I mean, I can do it if I really concentrate, but I'd rather the fretless kind, the fretted kind.
Right. Well, I mean, that is an art. I mean, anybody that can play a stringed instrument without any frets, again, I tip my hat to him and say, hallelujah, because I sure as heck can't. I can hardly play it with the frets, if you know what I mean.
Right. And I went to a concert. I went to a concert where somebody was doing some birdie thing, some piano player concerto, and he's like not only playing the notes, but he's playing them like 95 miles an hour. I'm going, how did these guys do this? The sheet music's right in front of them, and they're just playing. And I'm going, I have no idea how worthless I am because I can't do that.
Look,
I can sing, so there.
Dennis, it's practicing like a pro, and it's being a pro. Eat, sleep, and think it. And that's a whole nother discussion, of course. So listen, in our last 30 seconds of this segment, in the break, you're going to go grab a guitar and you're going to play a little bit, right?
Sure, whatever you want me to do.
Why
I'm here
not?
for you.
Hey, I like that. By the way, folks, in case you don't know who this guy is, check him out at DennisBlair.com. And this guy is a touring musician / comedian, and you need to go see his shows, especially here in Las Vegas. If you're here, make sure you go to DennisBlair.com and check it out. It's a funny guy, and he has a really good voice, too. Now, who would have known that a guy that can do some comedy work can sing? Look, he can walk, chew gum, sing, dance, play guitar. He can do all that at the same time and make you laugh. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on The Circus. Back in a few minutes, folks.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
AMP, the multi-format network, is here to help create, produce, distribute, and sell your content. For more information, send a message to info@aamp.tv. That's info@aamp.tv.
I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus. Join me and Hall of Fame world champion and all-star celebrity guest for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms. Also, thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All-American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-476-6087. 800-476-6087. 800-476-6087.
Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes, are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio. That stands for All Ages Media Programming Television, in case you're keeping score. And folks, Big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Of course, welcoming everybody all the way down to Southwest Florida at WBGY, Marco Island and Naples and all those beautiful places down there. Right back here to Las Vegas, KJPT Jackpot Radio and KVGK, of course, 97.9 FM. And a big hello to our friends that may be listening in over in LA on NBC News, and that is KCAA, plus everywhere else, including our friends. Of course, we don't want to forget them. Home of the Atlanta Braves, WAUD in Auburn, Alabama, from Columbus, Georgia, all the way over to Montgomery. Every other place in between, a whole bunch of others. Hell, we'll run out of time if we keep talking about them. Also, everybody on TV Land, thanks for joining us. In hotels, thanks for joining us here with the great Dennis Blair. And Dennis actually has a guitar, and he's going to play and sing a little bit just because he can. Let's see what you got, young man.
What do you want? You want something funny? You want something? How much time you got? You got 3 minutes? You got 2.5 minutes?
Buddy, you got as much time as you need.
All right. This is a song. This is one of my favorite local comedy songs. And I am a lapsed Catholic. I was born Catholic, raised Catholic, and I stopped going to church like when I was, there you go. So when I was like 18 or something like that. And one day in a hotel room just came up with this little thing. It's called, you know, as you get older, you start thinking, maybe I should hedge my bets. What if all that stuff's true? So came up with this song. Here we go. I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. I've been a lapsed one since I don't know when, but I seem to remember happier times then. I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. Maybe I'll take in a high mass or two, try to join in on some hymns I once knew, because I think that it might be the right thing to do, and I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. Well, I am a member of the human race. I need salvation, redemption, and grace, and that Jesus, he's got that all over the place. So I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. Because I'm sick of self-help books and psychology. And my child's mood and my family and my shrink has become too expensive for me. So I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. I lie awake late at night in my bed, thinking of people I'd like to see dead. But if I were Catholic, I'd love them instead. So I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. I've been a lapsed one since I don't know when. I still have my card, I just need to sign in. So I'm thinking of being a Catholic again. Ave Maria, that's the sangria. 'Cause I'm gonna be a Catholic again. That's it. That's the song. Are we off the air?
Yes, don't worry. We're still on the air. We didn't get booted off the air. So the good news is we get all creative control for this program. That's good stuff. And again, folks, if you've ever tried to play a guitar and maybe sing or even talk to somebody, just go that far, or look away, it's not the easiest thing to do. But imagine trying to sing and play. For all our musical friends, you know exactly what we're talking about. It's not easy. I have to say that, me personally, I can't even look away. I have to watch what I'm doing up and down that fretboard. And I'm left-handed, mind you. I don't play left-handed. I play right-handed. And so I have to watch what I'm doing. And I don't even, when I'm holding my guitar, I don't hold it, or I'm not on top of the strings, if you know what I mean, right? And my fingers are laying across the strings like what you're not supposed to do, right? There are certain things, of course, right?
Yeah. But then again, I could do this, but you can do a radio show, and I can't do that. So, we're even.
Well, the good news is,
if I were to do a radio show, they'd be, maybe going, what? This guy should just stick to guitar. So there you go.
Listen, the good news is we're on radio and TV in different markets, and everybody can see you playing, and I like that, and they can see my giant cranium here, but really, this one's about you, so here's what we'll do is we'll go ahead and shift the camera. Now, if you speak, the camera focuses on you instead of me.
Oh, man, this is way too much pressure. I'm sorry. I'm going to have a headache. I'm going to have to go lie down for about 10 minutes. You can carry on without me, right?
I've done a couple of these. I don't know. I got lucky, I suppose. So,
good.
Out of all the dates in the calendar, how many are you on stage performing, whether it's comedian work or you're a local act as well? You're in a local band as well, aren't you?
Yeah, on Fridays when I'm in town, I play bass and guitar in a local band on Fridays at the Tuscany Hotel here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then, I do the Composers Showcase in town. There's 2 of those in town where you get original songs, and they have people there in the audience, and they appreciate original music. So I do a couple of those once a month or once every 2 months. And then as far as it's mostly comedy. It's 95% comedy because it's hard to get people. If you're not in a band, we do that band thing on Fridays at Tuscany, and it's a different singer every week. So we have to learn like 30 new songs every week. So that keeps us pretty busy. But as far as, there are so many bands in Las Vegas, it's so hard to get in one. And I keep busy with comedy anyway. So, between the two, I keep pretty busy, which is good because I get bored really easily.
All right, so getting into the comedy world. Why the comedy world? I mean, look, people sometimes, they just have a good nature about them. Maybe they tend to make people laugh or whatnot. Maybe they're expressive. Maybe they have this animation feature, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Why you and why this?
Well, my career was a total accident because, like I said, I was playing, in a bar all by myself, playing James Taylor and Paul Simon, and no one cared. No one was listening. Everyone's drinking wine and getting drunk and stuff. So I got upset. I got very upset because I'm an artist and I want people to listen to me. So I went upstairs in between sets, and I came up with a parody of the current Bee Gees song, which was Staying Alive. And I did Singing Too High, and I got their attention. So I started doing more of that because I wanted to get attention because I'm selfish. And I got enough of those together. There you go. I got enough of those together, plus some patter in between. And I lived in New York City, and I was 4 blocks from Dangerfields. I went to audition, and it went really, really well, thank God. And they booked me next week to open for Jackie Mason. And then Rodney saw me, Rodney Dangerfield, said, "Hey, they obviously like what you do. What do you do?" And I told him, I sing parodies, and he says, "Oh, let me watch it." So Rodney watched the second show I did, and he really liked it. And then, as fate would have it, he did Caddyshack and became like the biggest comedian in America. So within a couple of weeks, I was touring with Rodney Dangerfield at like 2,000, 3,000 seat theaters. So I'm going, how did this happen? But I'll take it. So it was a total accident.
That's great. But then you also co-wrote a film too, which one of my all-time faves, because I think of Rodney and the bowling shirt, the bowling shoes, the polyester, everything. Truly one of, in my opinion, one of the funniest films that I have seen. It's just because it's so ridiculous. It's so Rodney.
Yeah.
It is exactly what you would imagine. I had the good fortune of playing dice with Rodney Dangerfield for 45 minutes, just myself, my brother, and him at the Bally's many years ago. And that little glimpse of who he was, from the point that he walked up to all of our time, to the time that he left, you've lived this. But how did you get into this film writing side, and what was the film?
Well, Rodney had just done Caddyshack, which made him like a huge, huge star. And I had been working with him for like a month, maybe, at Dangerfield. And he says to me, he goes, they want me to do a film or on the Star. So if you could come up with an idea for a movie for me, let me know. Now, I've been doing comedy at that point for like a month or so. And Rodney Dangerfield, the biggest star in America, just asked me to come up with a movie idea for him. So I naturally ran to my apartment 4 blocks away and paced for about 10 minutes and came up with the idea for Easy Money. And I brought it back to him, and he said, "Hey, that's a good idea. I'll present it to the Orion Pictures." And he said, "Yeah, they want to do it." So I got that. And then he made me a writer on the movie. So I came up with the idea for the movie and was a writer on the movie. And, that was that. So that was another accident that happened.
But, that was a really funny movie. It had a great cast in it, too. But,
Joe Pesci, all those guys.
Yeah, but what I liked about it, it was normal America. right? And it was the setting was normal America, and it was a normal American family. But I love the fact of the challenges, right, that were in front of him. But here's just a regular guy from the neighborhood, right, eating pizza, got that Popeye look, eating his pizza, that kind of thing. But he did what he did because that's what we did in urban America, right or wrong.
Yeah, I mean, plus the fact that Rodney's character was one of those characters, no one thinks they get respect. So he had that going for him, nobody. I mean, everybody's complaining all the time. Oh, man, my boss, my wife, this guy, that guy, he should die, that kind of thing. So everyone related to Rodney's, I got no respect at all, and I'm ugly too, and I'm, I can't cook and all that stuff. So he had that going for him for a while before that anyway. But this just, cemented it in people's mind.
Absolutely. In fact, folks, if you think this guy's funny, why don't you go check him out in person right here in Las Vegas and wherever he's touring. Check him out at DennisBlair.com for his touring dates. Yes! Make sure you get your ass out there and check this guy out because he'll sing to you. He'll make you laugh. He may make you cry, too. In fact, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus with lots more to come with Dennis Blair. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
My favorite one had to do with the Green Bay Packers. And I love the fact that they dealt off Ty Montgomery because of a blown assignment. Green Bay isn't Green Bay unless they have a good running game. Then they can win 10 Super Bowls. The fact is, you don't have a running game. You've got 70% passing, and that's not where Aaron Rodgers needs to be. He needs to be in a position where he's got a running game to offset the passing game and so forth. I like the move. Green Bay didn't have a running game anyway, so all they're doing is saying, we're going to get rid of you because you don't follow instructions.
Well, he made one of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen. There's 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. They traded him on Tuesday.
They should have cut him on Sunday night.
He shouldn't have been on the plane back to Green Bay.
Right, they should have made him walk back to Green Bay.
No, it was a terrible play. Now, he's not a stupid guy. He went to Stanford. Really? He's not a dumb guy.
He's not a dumb guy, but he doesn't follow instructions.
He made a terrible play.
The fact is he didn't follow instructions. And you say he's not a dumb guy. His own agenda he put ahead of his team.
I agree.
Thus, he is a dumb guy. Right or wrong?
Wrong. He just got selfish. You're not going to convince me that a guy from Stanford's a dum-dum.
No!
Yeah, this is Sidney Justin from The Miracles.
So you heard yesterday's show at Roy Firestone. Did you hear a little clip about him going into the office where Smokey was at? And that was really good material, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really funny, man.
Yeah, and then you heard him.
I thought it was hilarious. It was cool, though. It was cool. Really cool story, man. I enjoyed listening to that.
Right, and then he gave a couple of bars. Can you give us a couple of more from Ooh Baby Baby? And let's see if you could do it better than Roy Firestone. Come on, man!
All right, you know what? Why not? I did you wrong. My heart went out to play, but in the game I lost you. What a price to pay. Hey, I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. How's that, man?
That's
Is that
incredible.
okay? Is that good enough?
That's incredible.
That's fantastic.
You know why? Because that's what you do. You're in the incredible business, Sid. That's awesome. Yes. Only on the Sports Circus. You're going to get sports. You get music.
Hey, everybody. This is Barry Katz from the Industry Standard Podcast, and you're listening to the Sports Circus with Sal Tuzzolino.
welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. I'm the controls of all the audio, all the video, all the everything. So if I foul up, guess what? It's all my fault. I can't blame our super guest, Dennis Blair, for that. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are our podcast in full. So this is not a podcast, in case you're wondering. I think there's 2 million of them, whatever it is. We happen to take
2,783,000. Yes.
How many?
2,783,000.
Really?
Exactly.
Oh, my. There are that many people that are doing podcasts. And by the way, folks, in case you're wondering, if you're doing one of those, you may get your feeling of stardom, whatever the heck that's supposed to mean. But good luck getting it distributed. How are people going to find you unless you're in the top 1% of 1%? The Joe Rogans of the world, right? Joe gets all that pub. I mean, and he's really good at it. And by the way, folks, he didn't just start this. Joe's been doing this for, 25 years, thereabouts. So he's not a rookie in this business. And the good news is, if you need distribution, AmpTV, AAMP.TV, check them out, info@aamp.tv, and they could probably help you with your distribution needs. A shameless plug for AmpTV. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio and streaming also. I think we're streaming on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, plus Facebook and some others, whatever the hell. So we're here with a superstar comedian, a very good musician, and by the way, this guy writes films too. So we left off talking about Easy Money and Guys from the Neighborhood. So that's a film that you co-wrote, right? And so who else wrote that film with you?
Well, Rodney was one of the writers, of course, and me, and a guy named P.J. O'Rourke, and a guy named Michael Endler. The four of us sat around Rodney's table for about 2 years, from start to finish. And, we wrote the movie, and then we started filming the movie, and then if they needed rewrites, we were on set. So the whole thing took about 2 years, I'm thinking.
Wow.
And Joe Pesci was in it, and, just Jennifer Jason Leigh, all these great people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the cast was really good. But, folks, if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. Just get it. Put it on YouTube or put it on, actually, probably not there. Maybe get it from Netflix or something like that. I would imagine is probably the best way to get it.
I would think it's somewhere out there that you can catch it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want a belly laugh, that's one of those ones. There are so many ridiculous things that happen in it. And every time it's on, I will watch it. Like the Blues Brothers. Every time the Blues Brothers is on, I go out of my way to watch it just because there's ridiculousness in the film.
Right. Yeah. Worked out well. And it didn't, I don't know how well it did when it first came out. The reviews were mixed. But now the time has passed, I get people coming up to me all the time. You wrote that movie, Easy Money. That's my favorite movie when I was a kid. So I'm like, great, terrific. But, sometimes that happens. As a movie starts slow and 20 years later, 30 years later, it's like top of the heap. So let's hope those residuals keep rolling here.
Right. Are you still writing films? Are you involved in that?
No, I'm really concentrating now on doing my little comedy act around the country and in Vegas a lot, and writing songs that I put out on albums every 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. That's more fun. The film days are over for me, kind of, unless somebody comes up to me and say, hey, I got an idea for a movie and I got money. Hey, you want to do that? You got money? How much money? I'll do it. So that's about it. But no, not lately. Right.
The funding side, folks, if you've never been on the let's fund this project side of it, it is a very, very bumpy road. There are so many false promises out there. And people say, I want to go to Hollywood. I want to be a big star. Really? Good luck with that. You may be waiting tables. You may be doing something other than what you believe you should be doing. But chances are, unless you're in the right place at the right time with the right everything, you'll be doing that other gig for a very, very long time.
That is true. But, you got to keep plugging. If you really want to do it, just keep plugging away. Something will happen if you're good, so I got really lucky, so, can't complain.
Oh, sure, you can complain, but nobody's going to listen, if you know what I mean.
No one's going
to no one really listens. And by the way, that laugh sound, that's one of my favorites, and that's from Dudley Moore, from Arthur.
Ah, yes. Another classic film.
Just one of those, if it doesn't make you laugh, you know what? Just turn the TV off. Go leave the movie theater, whatever it is, because technically, in my opinion, you have no sense of humor if you can't laugh at stupidity like Arthur Bach from the movie Arthur.
Right.
One of those. Okay, so back here in Vegas, now you're found typically on the comedy stage at the Rio, maybe the Westgate. Are those the two primary houses you're playing?
Well, the one in Vegas that I do a lot lately is the Comedy Cellar at the Rio, which is a great club. It's a fantastic room. It's a hot room, and they have usually 5 comics a night per show. They have 2 shows, and they're all great. It's like I'm always whenever I have to follow somebody, I'm going, oh no, I got to follow this guy. Okay. But they're great audiences, so that's the main one. I occasionally do the Laugh Factory, sometimes in Vegas. The one in Reno I do a lot, and I do one in Sarasota called the McCurdy's, which is one of my favorite clubs of all time, along with the Laugh Factory in Reno. I like those 2 places.
But
and then, little one-nighters here and there.
But you also opened for a ridiculously large name, and who might that be, and for how long?
Well, if you're talking about George Carlin, that was an 18-year gig. That was a 3-month gig that started as a 3-month gig and became an 18-year gig. So that was probably one of the most fortunate things I ever got to do. I also, besides Rodney, I opened for Joan Rivers for 2 years and Tom Jones for a year. I was the opening act for a lot of people because I was a comedian and a musician, so it kind of fit in with a lot of different styles of people that I would open for. And I think I opened for like 150 different celebrities over the years so far. So but George was the longest by far, 18 years with him.
That's a lot of years. One of my friends, Tom Dreesen, he opened for Frank Sinatra for 13 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I know
you get a gig like that. It's the fortunate. You can't complain about anything if you work with these people.
I know. Well, look, folks, it doesn't just happen. I mean, Dennis, you had to earn that spot opening up for George for all that time. How'd that even happen?
Well, I had a really good agent. From Rodney, I got a really good agent, and he would call me every once in a while and say, "Hey, you want to open for the Beach Boys this weekend?" And I go, "Sure," and I go open for the Beach Boys. And you want to open for Gloria Estefan this week? Sure. How about Shirley Bassey? You want to open for her? Yeah. How about Alan King? So I just kept opening for people. I really liked that role in my career, being the opener, because you don't have to worry about ticket sales. You just show up, you do your 25 or 30 minutes for this incredible and talented singer, and then you just go back to your hotel. So that's how, and one day the agent called me and said, "Hey, you want to open for George Carlin for 3 months?" And I guess he saw a tape of me, they saw some sort of TV appearance. And I said, yeah, I think I could fit that into my schedule. So I did, and he liked me, and we got along great, and I was good with his audiences, so he just kept me.
Yeah, George was one of those comedians that, again, I was sort of a tough audience, but George can get just about anybody. It doesn't matter, I'm not going to laugh today. You're going to laugh because he was so animated and just a silly guy, but with a big brain. It was a really unusual mix. And I had a very fortunate thing happen for myself. This was probably 1997 thereabouts. And I was staying at my friend's place over in Hollywood, right off of Sunset. You know where the Laugh Factory is? Sunset and what's the intersection there?
Laurel Canyon?
Laurel Canyon. So my friend lived a half a block in on Laurel on the west side of the street in those apartments there. And I remember just going out for a walk. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was a little bit hungry, so I'm thinking, well, there's all kinds of food here. I don't want to go to the gas station on the other side, so I'm going to stay on the Laugh Factory side, wrap around the corner. The Improv is in there. And so sure enough, I walk in there and, there's some guy pushing a broom, whatever, cleaning the place up. And there was, some guy sitting over in the corner. And I'm kind of poking around. I've never been in there, right? So I'm looking around and I'm thinking, wow, maybe someday I'll come in here. And the guy goes, he had a ponytail. He goes, hey, kid, come here. Sit down. I'm like, okay. And so I sit down. I'm like, oh, my God. That's George Carlin, right? I'm thinking to myself, and I'm not like a super fan, but here I've paid a lot of money to see this guy several times. And so he's scratching things out on paper, and he's, I guess, writing out some new material or whatnot. I don't know how that business works. And so he goes, what do you think about this? So he's working at his new material, and I'm sitting right there just, what are the odds of this? It just doesn't happen, right? And so I got a private show, sort of, from arguably, at that time, probably the best comedian on the planet living at that moment. And it was just a magical experience. I could never pay for that experience. I guess I could, but I couldn't imagine that actually happening just by chance. Take a minute and talk about that.
You never know. Well, you know, you hang out in a place like L.A. or, you know, especially if you go into a comedy club, you're going to run into somebody. Although 2 in the afternoon, that's rare because most comics wake up after 2 in the afternoon. So you got really lucky there. Yeah, but I mean, you never know where you're going to bump into somebody on the street, get an autograph or whatever you need. You know,
but I'm not a fanboy. I just happened to walk in because I like comedy and whatnot, right? And it just happened that all the stars aligned. And sure enough, that's where it was. And I had something funny like that happen, which I'll tell you on break. But it's just a fortuitous thing. Have you ever done that to somebody? Maybe you're sitting there writing things out or whatnot and just randomly, hey, kid, come over here or whatever, kind of like what George did with me?
Not that specifically, not something like that really. And but I'm just trying to think. You know the famous Gary Shandling story?
Of course.
George Carl, right?
You know what? I want you to hold that for when we come back from break, because we're going on break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Gary Shandling story, and that's going to be from Dennis Blair. Folks, check him out at DennisBlair.com, and make sure you check out all of his performances, not just one, because one won't be enough, because I imagine that it changes from venue to venue to time to time. Folks, don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come back here in a few.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark, friends. Hi, pop fly. That would be a home run in a phone booth. I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people, but when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize. There's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has a Barbary over to first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Carey many years ago.
You got that right. And boy, when a box of Cracker Jack to me meant a lot of money. Here's a pitch, bounce foul. That's the most asinine marketing I've ever heard of. 1 ball, 1 strike. These guys say, well, you sing about Cracker Jack. I said that I only sing it because it's in the song. Here's a pitch foul back. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, even to this day, some youngsters who buy a box of Cracker Jack don't find a prize in the box. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Well, if you're going to talk about a congressman being crooked, here's a pitch foul out of play. Why not talk about commercial products who don't do what they represent to do?
There's a smash to Squires. He's got it. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. We're going to the bottom of the 7th now to score. All tied up. Milwaukee 4, the White Sox 4. Hey! Everybody! All right, Nancy, let me hear you. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back for its root for the White Sox. If they don't win, it's a shame. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, also our partners. Go to the partners page. Lots of great partners there. One of them is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, CSNCoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, CSNCoyotes.com. Get your tickets there for all those events. All right. Welcome back to everybody. You know who you are. TV, radio, streaming. We're here with, of course, the great Dennis Blair. And Dennis is going to tell you how to follow him, where you could see him perform, etc. Go ahead.
Well, how to follow me? I go on Facebook mostly. I'm not crazy about all the other ones, Instagram and stuff like that. I guess I can't figure them out because I'm stupid. But Facebook I could figure out. So I have a Facebook page. And then there's my website, which is dennisblair.com. And let's see, I don't go on Twitter very much. Those are the two main ones. So the website and Facebook, and I got my email there and everything like that. So those are the two main places, I must say. I don't do TikTok. Sorry.
So on the on your website, people could check out your show schedule, your performance schedule.
I have my whole schedule there. I got photos there. I got bios. I got interviews. I have. And links to the albums, which I got like 5 albums out. So those are on Spotify and all the streaming services. So there's that, and I think there's comedy clips here and there on that site. Still working on it, still adding things to it. But yeah, DennisBlair.com is the main thing, and then Facebook.
All right. Also, in the last segment, you were talking about a story. I think that was the Gary Shandling story, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Go ahead and tell everybody about that in case they don't know.
Well, that was one of the great things about George Carlin and a lot of performers. Most of the performers I meet are nice people. You get the occasional jerk every once in a while. But Gary Shandling was an up-and-coming comic, and he left an envelope for George saying, "I know you don't know who I am, but I have some jokes here, and I was wondering if you ever get a chance, maybe you could critique them or help me." But he didn't expect a reply anyway, at all. But he got a correspondence. I think it was a letter from George saying, "Hey, I'm sorry to get to meet you, but come backstage tomorrow wherever he was, and I'll say hi to you." And Gary went backstage, and George said, "Yeah, you got a lot of good stuff here." And I went over all of it, and I marked stuff that I thought was really good, and I marked stuff that I thought needed work. And you definitely should do this. So it's because George gave him that encouragement that he just stuck with it and became a really great comic. So that's the kind of stuff that happens all the time. And it really, you really have to remember, these guys can either make or break a person's spirit. So that was a great indication of what a great guy George was all around, besides being hilarious. So,
yeah, and it's amazing the influence that somebody has, how you could basically direct somebody's life. And, oh, by the way, that person is likely going to direct somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. One person could change an army.
Right. Paying it forward. There you go.
That's the
idea.
So
I try to be nice to everybody, which, I think is a good thing to do anyway. So, try to encourage as many people as I can, especially if I think they're good.
So you have a guitar in your hand still?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And
you want to hear the first parody I ever did?
I want to hear it.
This is the Bee Gees. Remember how famous they were? This is 1980 or something. Hold on, just a second.
Well, you can tell by the way I wear my pants that I am a guy. I don't take no chance. When I sing, I sound so dumb, like I've just been snorting helium. But it's alright, I can't wait. I sing just like Tiny Tim. Looking so don't hurt me. Singing funny, it's fun. Nobody today can tell what I'm saying because I'm singing too high. Singing too high. I can be resuming, but I can't get a woman because I'm singing too high. Singing too high. Singing too high.
It goes on from there, but I'm not going to do the whole thing because it's too long. But that's how I started with that stupid little song, and then it tumbled into a career.
I don't even sing in the shower.
No? Well, you should try.
People say that. They say, well, you have a good voice and all this other crap. I'm like, okay, thank you for that. But I can't imagine myself singing only because, look, I don't have a complex about me. I have that embarrassment factor, but I don't have an embarrassment on a microphone. I can stand in front of 10,000 people. I've done that at the Disneyland Hotel numerous times. No issues. But when it comes to the singing thing, I don't know what it is. It's just the lights, boy, turn the lights out, turn the mic off, turn everything off. No, we won't be doing that today.
No problem. Hey, we got enough singers anyway.
What's the biggest crowd you performed for?
I think probably 20,000 people. It was ridiculous. It was at a raceway. I forget what state. It wasn't any of the famous ones, but it was a raceway, and they decided to have Rodney Dangerfield in an open air raceway. So I think there were about 20,000 people there to see him. And I went on, and it was like, that's another thing. It was daylight, so half the audience couldn't see you because you blended in with the background. So I'm up there doing my 20 minutes, and Rodney comes on, and he didn't do great either because it's a ridiculous venue. You can't put a comedian in an outside arena where cars go around, and the closest person is like 100 yards away. Didn't go great, but I think that was the most amount of people that we ever did.
I think that's important as an audience member. You have to be able to see your comic close to where you can see their facial expression. You can see what's going on because so much is lost without that experience, in my opinion. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah. I mean, you got to have one of the most important things in comedy is the venue and the setup. You need a club with a low ceiling. You need maybe not too many people unless you're a star, and in that case they have screens and stuff. But as far as comedy, the more intimate I always found, the better the experience is because it's just the laughter resounds. You can hear everything. So yeah, absolutely, it's important.
Dennis, there was this one theater over in Orange County. It's the Anaheim Celebrity Theater. I don't know if you've ever played there.
We did it. I did it with George and Rodney, I think. Yeah.
I went there. That's where I would go to see all the shows. And the reason I would go there, folks, is because it is a stage in the middle and there are seats all around it. And the stage slowly rotates. So there's technically not a bad seat in the house, but you get the sound from everybody else. You'll hear the laughter and back and forth, and it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what's great about the places like the Comedy Cellar, too, because especially in Las Vegas, the ceiling's low, and they know how to run a show, and you hear everything. So, that really makes a difference.
So out of all the acts that you've seen here in Las Vegas, whether it's music, whether it's comedy, whether it's a stage show, what's the best stage show you've seen? What's the best act you've seen? Comics are comics. You've seen those. You've been with the best of the best. What's the best stage show, and what's the best musical act you've seen?
Oh man, that's a tough one. What did I just see? Well, one of the best shows I ever went to was I was doing the Comedy Fest in Milwaukee. This was in 1987, and Paul Simon with the people who sang background on the Graceland album, and he had them all there, and they were dancing and singing. That, to me, still to this day, is one that's hard to beat. Paul Simon with Ladysmith, Black Monk Bazo, and as far as I don't go see many comics, but when I went to see Bill Burr a couple of years ago, that was a great show. I don't, because if you do it, it's like unless it's a really special occasion, I stay away pretty much.
But I'm talking about the big stage shows, the big productions, like the musical group singing, or it could be like a Cirque du Soleil show. What's your favorite Cirque show? Have you seen any of the Cirque shows here in town?
The best show I ever saw from Cirque was That's still I can't be beat. I mean, I saw that, I don't know, 25 years ago or something like that. I wasn't even living in Vegas then, and that still sticks out. I mean, how they did that, the water, people diving into a pool that disappears, that was amazing. And there's another show in town that I just saw about a month and a half ago at the Westgate, and it's called The Soul of Motown. And it's just, I think the woman is married to one of the singers, and I think they're all related somehow. But it uses tracks, and I'm not usually a fan of tracks. I like a live band.
Right.
But after 5 minutes, I was like totally engrossed in this. They were great singers, and they put on a great show, and they were funny. And that was about a month and a half ago, and that's like one of the best stage shows I've seen here. So those are the two that come to mind right away.
This is an ever-changing city, of course, with all the sports here in town, and the Oakland A's are coming here. They're going to blow up the Tropicana, and they're going to build a baseball stadium over there, which
that won't affect traffic at all. That's
no, not at all. Not at all. No, especially maybe when there's hockey going in April, and there's baseball going on in April. No, come on.
We got 3 teams, and I think a chess league is coming, so I can't wait for that.
Hey, I like that. Pretty soon we'll have the badminton team, and we'll have a pickleball stadium.
Big on croquet. Las Vegas is going to become the headquarters for croquet in the USA.
What about pickleball? You know anything about pickleball?
I've heard of it. I haven't played it yet. I will. I'm getting there. So I will. I was a tennis guy, but I haven't played tennis in 10 years.
Well, it's kind of like tiny tennis, right? And so as I see it, friends of mine play it. I've seen it on TV a couple times. It just looks like a giant game of ping pong.
Yes. So I'm sure I'll be getting into that because I love ping pong and I love giant games. So you put those two together, you got me there. I'm sure I'll be playing that by the time I reach 85.
85. Well, that's going to be a few years away, that's for sure. All right, listen, Dennis, we're coming up on time here. Tell everybody again how to follow you, how to get your shows, how to go see them, pick up your albums and see your films, etc.
Sure. DennisBlair.com is the website. That's got just about everything on it, including the albums, which I just released a new one about 2 weeks ago. And I get good reaction internationally from those. You know, I don't have a big music following, but I have like 35,000 streams already. So looking forward to that. So it's DennisBlair.com. And then if you want to find me on Facebook and do a DM or something like that, that's the other best way to get me. That's about it.
I think there's a little bit more.
I am on Instagram, but I don't go there very often. But if you really want to get me, I am on Instagram. It's Denny_Blair. That's my do you call them a handle? That's my Instagram handle.
Yeah, I suppose. Handle, hashtag, it's all that stuff. I don't know.
Whatever. So you got 3 ways.
Right. So you can go see his shows locally here in Las Vegas. And folks, as a musician, the guy knows how to play. Go see his show over at the Tuscany. He knows what he's doing over there. And I'll tell you what, he knows what he's doing on stage. And Dennis, obviously you can come back anytime here on the circus you want because we always need comedy. And listen, I'm a one-man circus and I prove it every day, but it's always nice to have somebody else sharing the mayhem.
There you go. Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good stuff. An astounding round of applause. He's going to give him the super applause. All right, maybe we'll give another one just because we can.
How do you get those people in that little can?
That's good stuff. All right, Dennis, thanks for joining us. And everybody else, thanks for joining us here on the Sports Circus. So we're going to see you, in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. So make sure you check out Dennis's site and also thesportscircus.com for all of our other guests and et cetera, et cetera. Listen to all those recorded shows. In case you missed this one, make sure you go back to that recorded shows page and you can play this one in its entirety. So for Dennis Blair, I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you next time right here on your favorite station. So long, everyone.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.